King.
Hi,
Hello.
thank you for being with us, Lou.
I'm so thrilled.
I'm so excited. It
Yeah.
happened. Wonderful.
And the pressure is on
Eh,
after such wonderful Jeff just opening all of my vistas, Stefan. And so what I love is that there's this kind of dialogue that started. It's like this chain. And hopefully I'll be able to get in the chain and then send the chain to, is it Benjamin right after? There you
Benjamin.
go.
Yeah, it's all.
So,
It's like
well,
it's
let's
it's like
put.
a family affair. I was telling them it feels like a high school reunion.
It's
It's like a
very
big
lucky
family.
because
Yeah.
I might be one of the only ones here who not only didn't go till the end of my scolarité, as the French say, but I've never been to art school. I've never had any form of training or discipline, and I have always, like anyone who hasn't done it, worshipped art schools and worshipped the fact that you could have wonderful creative people who would share their knowledge. So I feel like a little girl today where I'm finally in something that resembles the best school ever with the best
Amazing.
teachers giving tiny kind of condensed masterclasses. And yeah, thank you.
It's funny you mentioned that because for me you are the quintessential artist because you're so multi-talented and I'm always like listening to your music, looking at your drawings, listening to you read and write poetry, do all kinds of things and stuff, and you're constantly creating. And so I know you don't consider yourself an artist, you consider yourself a human being,
For
essentially.
sure.
And you're
For sure.
constantly creating. So, and that's essentially kind of my first question for you. It's because you sit across so many different, you're constantly, using your hands, using your voice, making music, all kinds of things. You sit across all these different crafts. Like, how did you find yourself across all these crafts? And would you consider yourself an artist?
I don't know. We're always very embarrassed by this question of being an artist. I guess that I'm lucky enough to sustain myself thanks to what I do, and that makes me free and free to do what I want to do. That is huge. That is massive, and I'm very proud of that. That I guess that I would consider the obsession having to do with observation. I'm of a very curious nature, and I love to see people. I love to see what people do. I love to see how they do it. I come from a strange background, which is that I come from a very famous family, which is of no interest whatsoever. What's interesting is that as a child, I was constantly looking at people looking at them. If you're not famous and you're next to famous people, you don't exist. So I was a wonderful insider. I was under the table nearly till the age of 7 or 8. I used to draw the feet of the people under the table, and I could see their hands. They were very famous people. They were very important people. And I loved to see how it would communicate or not with what was happening with their legs and with their hands under the table. See people who could seem very relaxed and seeing their hands completely freak out. Or my favorite gesture of women who do that with their heels. Or the whole intimate side, l'intimité, something of what do we give out, what do we control, what do we not control, and what people project. It was fascinating as a child to be on the side of the stage and to see all the emotions that people were living through people that I knew, who were also living what's private, what's public, complicated line, a bit like what's real or not. All of this seemed to be like a kind of show that was going on. And so I guess that put me in a position of l'observation, which I adore. And so in the drawing, it's obviously there. In the reading, it's there because for me, words have a lot to do with sound. I think poetry should always be read out loud. Clearly, some poets were having fun on the resonance of words. Sylvia Plath clearly chose words because they had a violence to them. They had a ting, they had something going on. So all of the kind of the sound of words, the breathing of a drawing, all of it, weirdly enough, keeps on resonating in me to a state of great confusion today. I can write a song because of a pair of boots, where I like the sound of those boots because it reminds me of the boots that I saw in the Van Gogh Museum when I was a teenager. And suddenly you think, oh, but then it brings me a song. So am I buying the boots to draw the boots, to make a song with the boots? To then, I don't know at this point. I know that they're like little glitches that I'm trying to weave. And also, I guess, it's what we all have. I love hands and legs and feet and the embarrassing moments of people. I love our cheapness. I love our shitty little moments. I think I have a passion for how beautiful we are in those moments. Even if they're, not beautiful moments, we all have the same. And so to be able to be a witness of that, I guess, all my work has to do with something which is common.
Mm. And I think all your work, what's interesting what you're saying is that all these different art forms are ways for you to transcribe what you're observing. And so I'm sure they all have refer to a different internal process, the way that you compose music, the way that you write music, the way that you draw, all these things. So how does that, you're saying it's a form of chaos, but I do see that, the way you put it out into the world is also it's very thought out in the sense that these are different layers for you to, divulge the way you process things and the way you divulge your own intimacy.
Yeah.
So,
there's a lot of rituals. I'm very worried. I'm very worried that I haven't got time. I'm very worried that I'm wasting a lot of time with stupid shit. I'm wary and cautious of everything around me. So if all goes well, a day should ideally, once the children have been fed, that the dog has been taken out, whatever, to write in my diary. I've held a diary since I was 12 or 13. So there's half an hour of that, putting down maybe the dreams, maybe the weird chaotic things, ideas, not to let the world come in at all, if possible. And then there will be a feeling. And the feeling can either be something that needs to be processed, on which I guess I would tend to draw, that it would be a way of thinking and obsessing and following a line. I do very strange drawings, which is hard to understand without the process, but I only draw what I see since I've been very young. And so it's this because I like the way no one else ever sees it of ourselves, and it's completely wrong. It's the thick thighs against the table. It's suddenly the shortening of the foot. It's constantly, sadly, the left hand, because I draw with the right, but that doesn't move, and at the same time it's moving. Now I see their hands are aging. I was lucky to have as a marraine Agnès Varda, and Varda, we used to lie down when I was small, and we used to look at our hands, and she was like, this is the last thing you'll have. It was the first thing you have, and it's the last thing you'll have. And I thought, yes, I'll draw that all my life, and I can see it changing. And if all goes well, my craft will be in my fingers, and it will finish completely diminished, and hopefully I will still be able, I have to draw everything like that, and that's it. I'm 43. I can't see shit here anymore. And I'm like, how is it going to work out to just testify on something as simple as pen and paper? Just testify that I was once here. I think that's what we all feel and need, and which is a strange relationship. It's what was beautifully said about AI, of a lot of what we do has to do with the emergency that we're going to die. Mm-hmm. I think that insane fatalité is something so moving that you think all of us, every single one of us, are gonna die in pretty shit circumstances, whatever happens. If we're lucky to die old, that means we will see all of the people we love die before us. And this kind of insane deal, which is the only deal when we get on this planet, that's the only thing we are absolutely sure of for the moment. And we all manage to smile and kiss and say hello and make love and want to go on and take the dangerous act of loving, making, creating, when you know that it's all going to go. I think that common ground of all of us is what makes me want to testify about the smallest thing, testify about, songs. What do we only sing about love? What other thing could you sing about? You're either losing the love, looking for the love, found the love, hate the love, saying you don't care about the love because you care about the love, saying you don't, it's love. That's the only message in music. It's resonance and that's it. And I love the petite scale of it, for me.
Mm-hmm. But it's not just about observing, it's also about sharing, right?
Yeah.
So much of it, and then, as you mentioned, you were, you grew up with that language, with that natural language of observing and creating and singing, writing, drawing. What was the impetus for you to start sharing, to start putting your work out into the world and to start sharing your drawings, the music, everything? What was the turning point?
I guess it was the weird tool that is Instagram. I started off acting for a long time, and who I was defined by journalists, good or bad, and a lot of things have changed in the last 30 years, but I can tell you that 25 years ago, to be half French, half English, model/actress was kind of the lowest you could get of respect from journalists. I mean, I don't think there was anything lower than that. So, it was just like you were a tool for other people's creation. And I think I remember the first time my first album was released, people couldn't believe it. Literally all of the press was like, we didn't know you could write. We didn't know you could sing. We didn't know you could think. And, well, thanks for Instagram, suddenly it was a way for me to control the fact that I could send off how I saw the world. The fact that, it's stupid rituals. Every morning I take a picture of my breakfast because I love eating, love breakfast. Then it will be the diary. Then hopefully it will be a drawing or it will be a song. If I'm on tour, it will be the moments before going on stage. It's the door between, that terrifying moment where suddenly you're going to be out into the world. But so all of that came thanks to Instagram, and gallerists and curators suddenly approached me for that work, and now I'm lucky to be in a world where in 2025 to be a multi is starting to be cool. But from, I'm half French, and in French people always say, what's the terrible expression that I was told all my childhood? It's good, I've blocked it out. I think I was 14, it was one of my first TV interviews saying, oh, you do many things because you don't know how to do one well. So, fine. Why not?
Right, but so much of so that era opened up a way for you to open up your work, your intimacy. What's the how do you gauge how much of that intimacy you share with the world? Because I know you have a very, very colorful inside world, and again, we see your music, your drawings, but how do you? What are the filters, and in terms of the layers that you divulge to the outside world?
It's extremely instinctive, and at the same time, it's a very hard question. I don't really know. My mother had no filter whatsoever between public and private. Bless her, that was wonderful. As her kid, it was confusing. And I guess that's why I was also very attracted by the work of Sophie Calle, was the idea that I like the idea that you can control the vision that you're giving of what's intimate or not, and that you can actually make something with it, and that you're going somewhere with it. That if you're going to share things that might even hurt the people around you, then it better be for a direction of work. I guess that I'm trying to navigate on a thin line, which is that what's extremely intimate most of the time is universal. And I do love that. I would say that I would have no problem of sharing a drawing of me from above, maybe the boobs looking weird, maybe I did all my pregnancy. I did the 9 months of insane transformation from there, and sometimes it's not pretty. I did the whole thing till going to the hospital, and in the hospital, and the breastfeeding, and the animal side of it. For me, that's absolutely fine. I would say that a dinner party with 6 friends at home would make me extremely embarrassed to share. So weirdly enough, you can see things that would be considered by some people extremely intimate, but I don't think you can actually know much from following my Instagram about who I'm actually living with, what I'm doing, or vaguely, there's bits of hands of children, there's bits you can feel that there's children and animals, but it's a kind of blah blah relationship. It has to do with more of with a vibe, I guess, all those wonderful new words. It's storytelling, whatever. But so that the extremely intimate, that would be able to talk about for half an hour about how stupid I was, how stupid I can still be, how we have bad instinct, how in a breakup I was destroyed. I mean, very, very intimate things. I love sharing because I don't care. I think that it would happen to anyone. And so that for me is common.
And as a public figure, do you find that, precisely this whole Instagram era that we're in has kind of blurred the lines in terms of intimacy? I know that you enjoy very much playing on stage, being on stage, and that's another form of sharing intimacy. Do you find that in the interaction with the outside world, there's ways where you lose control of that sharing of the intimacy?
That's the thrill. And I would say that's the thrill of being on stage. It's the idea that if all goes well, being on stage is a very strange balance, I find, of an ultra ego, which is, of course, everyone came to see me and my songs, and a complete lack of ego, which is that no sane person would ever go on stage in front of other people to do something that they might miss. Most of the time, I'm with an acoustic guitar. If I fuck it up, everyone will hear. If I'm not the greatest singer of all time, I can do what I do. That's about it. I can't do more than that. And so it isn't a show. I'm not there to bluff anyone. I don't think people come out thinking, oh my God, I want to be her. Hopefully it's the other way around. That's what moved me when I was younger to see people on stage. What moved me was the complete irrational idea of being able to be a kind of antenna to feelings. Because actually when you are on stage, when I'm singing a song of mine, for the most famous, like if I'm singing I See You, what's beautiful is that I'm in front of people who know this song much better than I do. I wrote it, took me the time it took, was actually that one pretty quick, recorded it, must have sung it 4 times. Since then, maybe have sung it 90 times, maybe 150. I'm clearly in front of people where some of them have listened to the song more than 200 times. What's wonderful is that they're looking at me, but for real, I don't exist. I can see it in their eyes, that the eyes are nearly going backwards. They are where they were when they listened to that song. They're back with their breakup, they're back with their love story. I don't know where they are. So in fact, you're on stage and everyone's looking at you, but to be honest, they're looking through you. They're actually looking at themselves. They're looking at the relationship they have with the songs that you've given. That is an absolute thrill, because it's a moment of pagan necessity. I think it must have been one of the oldest things we ever did, to sing together and to make rhythm and to dance. Must have been the first thing. Touch, kiss, all of this is terribly ancient. So this part of not controlling, I find not only fascinating, but that's the reason I do it. And ideally, I would rather be on stage all my life with an audience maximum this size to be able for something to happen. The idea of a perfect performance from far away that will be the same every single night, for me, is no fun. I like the idea, but because I'm like that as an audience, the idea that everyone's going to see the same concert as mine pisses me off. I want something special to happen tonight because I'm coming to see you. And I want it the other way around. I want people to be able to, for us to live a moment, ideally without phones, ideally without anything, of just, this is one of the rare jobs where nothing is going to come out of it. It's going to be there, but that's it. There's no image of it. There's nothing of it. If I write a song, which is insane, I can hum a melody to you. It's nowhere. That melody can travel throughout the world without even being recorded. It's just this, to work with this wonderful nothingness is maybe the most exciting in a world of today, where everything needs to be quantified and physical, and I'm in an industry where now people are wondering if creating an album even has economic sense. And you think, wow, it's just hovering around. And I guess that that absolute lack of control is wonderful. It's a thrill because we do control the Instagram. We control our image at so many levels, and it's an illusion.
Yeah, no, and I think what's great with you is that, you have so much knowledge and so much experience and have experience in so many different ways, those languages, the commercial aspect of the work, the industries that you're in, but so much of your energy is really immediate and impulsive and urgent in the way that you communicate with people on a daily basis, in the way that you like to communicate your work. So much of it is about almost the physical exchange, of the arts. And I know that not that you struggle, but I do know that the commerce aspect of your work is also something that you grapple with because it is real.
Yeah. I mean, enthusiasm is a great thing, and to get excited and giddy and to have a big smile does make you travel really good. You can kind of pave your way through because it is thrilling. I'm lucky to, that was maybe the good thing of having parents who were so obsessed by their work, obsessed really by what they were doing, and what they were doing was so interesting that for sure that coming back home to cook for the kids was way less interesting than what they were doing. And so they never really looked at us, which means that as children, I wouldn't recommend it as a parent, I don't know, but as children, we were really left with our own imagination versus boredom, I guess. And when I was 5 or 6, my uncle, who's a very wonderful, interesting, weird artist called Andrew Birkin, I told him, I said, "Oh, Andrew, I'm bored." And he said, "No, you can't be bored. It doesn't exist. You're just boring." And walked off. And I thought, that is the last time I will ever be bored. No one will ever catch me bored ever again. And so I used to go into rooms, count how many windows, count the tiles, count if there was a problem on the ground, try to memorize every single detail, draw with anything that was available, learn everything I could, go in every factory possible. I do collaborations in fashion just because I'm obsessed by the craft. To be able, I did boots with Aigle because the only fun was to go and see, how do you make boots? What does, a caoutchouc factory smell like? What does it look like? I did jewelry with Arthus Bertrand that's coming out in a couple of weeks to see the machines. They have an actual machine that makes the medal with La Vierge Marie. It's one machine, like a kind of insane Dr. Seuss machine that goes blah, 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 and it starts like this, and then comes out a Virgin Mary, and you think, I mean, it's the thrill. And everything, when you see anything, how anything is built, is just insane. The fact that there's been, and in our world, and we know it was the world of commercial, and, when something is really bad, and you think, they've had 30 reunions about this thing.
We see a lot of those.
They've had so many reunions, and that is the result. I want to meet these people. It's just, you think, we live in a world where everything has been done, crafted, and I do believe that as humans, we feel when it's been done with love.
Or instinct.
Instinct. And what I thought absolutely beautiful is the idea of care that Jeff so beautifully talked about. You need to care. Everything I do is because I care. I do not see the point of doing it for any other reason. And one thing links to another, that links to another, and you just have kind of fireworks in your head when suddenly you think, oh, this and that, and on any subject, on anything, to meet any person that masters a craft, to see the oldest technique of making miso, and to see that the guy who makes miso knows when it's ready because he hears it. A majority of crafts that have to do with food are actually heard or touched, not taste. You think this whole, I wish I could be around this planet for, another 100 years, and I wish I could be many different, in many different places. I wish I could be many different genders. And that's where literature comes in. Thank God for literature, which is, us being able for a moment to live into the shoes of somebody else, to have another point of view, another vision. But I love us so much, and of course my heart is broken by how stupid we still are. But I think that's because we think that we're better than we are. If we could just accept that we're way more about territory, fear, instinct, sex, lust, jealousy,
violence.
Ultra-violence. That's why I've also worked with hands. This thing, thanks to those two, we can make, we can care. It's how we touch. It's the last thing that we do when people go. It's the holding. It's the grip. It's the touching. It's the taking care. It suddenly became with COVID the danger. It was this that you slap, that you beat, that you knife, that you shoot. It was this that you touch a body. It was this that you wipe your ass. It's just this insane tool, exactly like new technologies. We are the one controlling what we do with this tool. It's the most beautiful tool, and everything around us has been made with this strange tool. And it's the best thing in the world.
On that note, do you think that the artist has a special responsibility to speak to the, you speak of the pressure that you, not the pressure, but the attention that you get from your crowd when they expect you to, interpret or give them something that they came for. But do you feel that, the stage after sharing your intimacy is actually to take responsibility on certain topics? You and I speak often on, the state of the world that we're in, and, the society and the state of things. Do you feel that as an artist you have a responsibility towards a lot of these issues to speak to?
It's very complicated. I think that there's a variety of people, variety of artists, variety of days. Some days yes, some days no. I don't know. It changes. I don't feel entitled. I don't think I have any form of knowledge that would give me any form of entitlement to say anything. I'm extremely cautious of morality. I don't really know what it means. Even the notion of good and bad, I'm kind of cautious about. I would say that I do not have a responsibility apart from my responsibility of a human being. That is a massive responsibility. To be an artist, for me, doesn't add or take away from that responsibility. But that's extremely personal. Also, I think that I like the idea of a dialogue, and that today, where the more it goes, the more it's kind of one speech versus a speech, and then I would rather keep on the dialogue. So I like the magma of not being completely clear. I'm not a political person. I am in my life, but I mean not as an artist. And it can change. My mother was wonderfully implicated. She was a real activist, as we say too much today and maybe too loosely. But that was deeply in her character. I think that, and actually it was on a day-to-day basis that it was the most beautiful to witness, more than statements. Statements can be very complicated. Things turn against you, and also we very seldom have the actual knowledge, the kind of zoom out to know. And I do believe that people are very smart and that they do whatever they want to do. I can already see it with my children, and so the idea that I would tell anyone how they should think, act, or live, I find extremely complicated for me. I don't like that, but I'm super happy some do, and in a way it has to be done. But I guess that to care, to see, to watch, to notice, to give maybe doubt, fear, bad sides, if that can just calm people on front to think, if talking about the fact that I often feel like shit and like the worst person, that I don't feel like an artist, that I feel like a complete hoax, that all of this is bullshit, that if I wasn't, suddenly if it can make other people go, wow, I have that feeling too half of the time, you think, well, then that was worth it. That was worth it, to just be vulnerable, I guess, to be extremely vulnerable and human and confused and lost and stupidly hopeful is my way of still believing, and sharing is a big word. I don't know what we share, but and also it's a good thing to accept that you can be a disappointment.
To yourself or
to anyone?
To anyone.
There's a great generosity in allowing people to think shit about you. That's okay. I give you that gift of you can think whatever you want of me, because, what can I do? Nothing.
But in a world where everyone can communicate with you, back and forth, and again, you're so, forward and immediate in the way that you communicate with the outside world, how do you protect yourself from that?
You do and you don't. I guess that the place that would be, and that would be another kind of topic, the place that I find complicated, maybe today, maybe as an artist with big brackets, is the fact that I do believe that with this whole morality game going on and this whole righteousness, I often wonder if we are the first generation to censor ourselves while we're making. I think that for a long time censorship was outdoors, which meant that you would find and develop tools to kind of work around it. I'm frightened sometimes to see how, as I'm writing a song or as I'm doing something, I'm wondering if I can. That, I don't like that feeling.
And that's a recent phenomenon.
I should think so. I think that, the bliss and innocence of the generation of my parents, you think, wow, you just were all kind of, you could obsess over anything, and good or bad or whatever. Who cares? But you had no sense of, what are people going to say? What are they going to think? Are you responsible? If you write a song about something extremely dark about you, what does it mean? Are you exploring it? Are you exploiting it? How does it, can you laugh about it? Can you not laugh about it? Can you talk about something that isn't your experience? Are you limited by your own experiences? What do you know about your own experience? All this stuff doesn't make my work more interesting, sadly. And I guess that is something I try to kick out of the room, where I'm like, you're allowed to do it. You're allowed to feel whatever you feel. And as long as you're not hurting anyone, which I don't, physically. That's the lucky thing we have in those jobs too, is to think that there are so many jobs where other people's happiness depends on you. I'm extremely lucky that apart from the people who are in my house, I have no form of responsibility I'm not in a chain of other people, like most people on this planet who have the terrible actual responsibility of life. If I bring out a really shitty album, no one's going to be in trouble, apart from me. Technically, everyone will have the same job at the end of the year, they'll go on the same holidays, everything will be fine. So that is an actual freedom that I love. And I would say the responsibility, hopefully, is towards myself and the rest,
So one last question, as I'm being told, is, just because I think you really insert yourself in, various artistic traditions, literary, musicianship. Would you? I have to ask you the mandatory AI question. What's your take on AI?
I'm going to sound like a very old granny. I've never done it. I don't know it. I get even confused with the words. I thought ChatGPT was an automobile game. It's not, obviously, but no, I'm really lousy. And where I'm lucky is that I don't like technology very much, and it really hates me back, which is great. Computers do turn off when I get into rooms. Things that have never happened. I keep on having technicians on the phone. They're like, this has never happened. I'm like, oh, again, the story of printers don't work. So my bag is huge, and everything is done by hand. I cannot work caméra numérique. It just doesn't work.
So Mercury's constantly in retrograde.
It has. I am Mercury retrograde. Be careful if you invite me in your house. Everything collapses. I can't work it out, and I find it extremely insulting that I can't work it out. That I can't do a GPS gets me really pissed off, and so I'm lucky that I live with a man who's even more old-fashioned than I, and so we have maps, we have paper. I actually have right there scissors and glue and paper and pens, and I need to map it out with my hands. My brain doesn't work with computers, so AI is something completely abstract, and I love the discussion. I love that everyone knows about it. It's
discussing the video game.
I mean,
ChatGPT.
The ChatGPT. I used to, have a Nintendo a long time ago. I think even that broke down. But no, I'm really, really bad at that, and it's fine because, I think the only thing I do understand is Instagram, which feels like something ancient of just putting a message in a bottle and sending it out, and someone finds it and sends something back, and it just kind of, it's got this old ritual. This whole technology thing, I think I feel, but it's the double thing. We're looping back to the start, but I'm half French, half English. I'm half aristocrat, half proletarian. Actors think I'm a musician. Musician thinks I'm an artist or a drawer. Drawers think I'm a singer. None of them accept me in their gang. I'm always on the out gang. There's a wonderful French expression that says to have your arse in between two chairs. That's my job. That's where I sit. I sit in between two chairs. And so that is a glitch that for the moment the algorithm doesn't get it. My centers of passion give me, I get spams for Viagra, I get spams for the chair that helps me go to bed. So clearly, my research on the machine is just it doesn't understand.
Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, it's and Googling for hours. I fall asleep with Tony Hancock, which was a BBC star in the 50s. I like weird Swiss historians from the 30s. I like odd stuff. How factories in Japan out of wax make all the fake food. those are some of my passions. The machine doesn't understand that. It's kind of like trying to poke, thinking, are you a man? Are you a very old man? Is she a child? It's just like, so I have, sorry for the AI modern technology output on my one, but no, you'll find pen, paper, scissors and glue.
Wonderful.
Come and come and see me
Thank
for the
you
rest.
so
Good
much,
luck.
Lou. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
I think we'll take questions, maybe. Questions for Lou?
No, they're all like.
When is the next album?
Oh, next album is next year. It's done, it's finished, but again, I do things backwards or in a weird way. So I've written the song, I've recorded the song, I've got the album. I haven't got a label, I haven't got a plan, I haven't got the name of an album, and so yeah, normally you do it the other way round. I've done it this way. I guess where I'm happy is that I was able to create the album without any form of input from anyone with any kind of law about how it should be done, you know.
Which is the best, I think.
I'm very lucky on that. Some songs are 5 minutes and a half, some start with no sound, and then there's like, you know, full-on corps de chasse. I wanted like, you know, trumpets and violins and things where everyone's like, that's not what's going on right now. It's like, you know, yeah, it's the thing that I always love when people in England ask me, not where I'm from, but when I'm from. I like that. And so I guess that this album again is, and it's not, I don't believe in it in being an homage. I guess it has to do, what was thrilling and exciting was that we recorded everything live. And that I do believe that by recording every instrument at the same moments in the same room, there is something, again, pagan, that has to do with resonance. And when a bass starts getting on with a drum, there's something that happens where you just... So we've used the takes from start to finish with no edits and no click. No click. So uneditable, but yeah, no click.
So speaking of music, when you're doing your drawings, is there music that you're listening to, any musical influences, or maybe even some of your own music while you're working?
Never listened to my own music while I was working. Never, but it's a great place to listen to actual conversations. So I often have conversations with people where the brain can kind of drift. And because I'm following a line, it can be sometimes it's extremely physical. Some drawings take 6 or 7 hours. And so I'm always stuck with the fact that I have to have somewhere, so a big paper there, and let's say will be that I'm limited by my distance. So at one point I'm going to, you know, and so the breathing starts becoming complicated and the whole thing. And my husband laughs, thinking, why? Why are you just not turning the paper? I don't know. I need to do it that way. And so it's hard to focus on anything else. It's rarely music. It's often podcasts, actually. I like to hear people talk. And it kind of... La qualité de l'écoute, the quality of the listening, is better when I'm drawing, I find.
Is there a rhythm from the voices of people that maybe translate into your line work?
There can be. There can be. But there's a wonderful thing to do if you love poetry. We tend to forget that a lot of poets have read their own poetry. And if you go into that world on YouTube, it will be wonderful for you to discover Sylvia Plath reading Sylvia Plath. You will find nearly everyone reading their own poetry, and that changes completely the vision of their poetry. And also, yes, it's physical. I find words are physical. Words have colors. And then they have sound, and then they work together or not, and it's again See, my brain would just be like, and you think, ooh, that word, and yes, I can hear right now Sylvia saying the word boot, and the way she says boot made me want to write songs with the word boot, and have made me want to buy boots that, when I walk, sound like Sylvia saying boot. There's a violence to it that I love, and I can choose in between, because suddenly in French, but suddenly seems extremely sweet and light, and you think, no, it's not at all. But that I want boot. Down on my knees is another one that I love, where you have the physical sense of some languages carry more physicality than others, and but so yeah, listening to words I find very nice to trip and to kind of do the drawings. Obviously not when I'm doing music, but and also I love actually seeing other people doing stuff, even if I can't really see it. But you feel when people are being creative around you. It's a wonderful energy. I wish I had a kind of hub where everyone could be doing their thing, because I do believe that we get a kick out of each other, and that energy is something that you can physically feel and see. And I think that's why we go to museums. That's why because it's still there. We're still feeling it. It's still vibrating.
Yeah, it's like an instant vie, like
it's
a life
there to
instinct
get
that's
closer
traveling.
and to nearly sometimes you can feel the brushstroke, and you get very close. We get told off all the time in museums. We just get so close, and you nearly kind of, you want to breathe it, you want to touch it. I'm always touching statues. There's something where I need to feel it in more ways than just the eyes. You know, licking it is maybe taking it too far, but I would like to try that too. I mean, there's something I would like to wrap it in my arms. I would like to go under it, around it, above it.
Jeff, you were just talking about this morning, people needing to interact with the physicality of your work. Yeah,
yeah, I think it's
constantly needing the senses.
It's hungry, it's food for all of that.
Mm-hmm. The sensorial experience.
Completely. And the more we can do and touch and the more we can put all of that together and again, just be in this chain of humans where it's one step after another.
Any other questions?
Hi. The speech was really inspiring. Thank you. I was just wondering, the concept of the muse is really associated with you and your family members, and I was just wondering, does that create a sense of artistic responsibility, or is that something that you think about, or because it's really deeply ingrained in people's minds in that way, and people turn towards your work to have a sense of wanting to produce themselves? So does that create a different level? I was wondering.
Well, thank you. Thank you for... I am happy to see that there's a following of gangs of girls and guys who've got notebooks and ink and who suddenly are these kind of babies of an old-fashioned way of living it. It was always a great question for me, because I think I'm how could I say it? I come from a family of muses, and my God, I wanted to be one. But I'm not. I talk too much, I'm too loud, too big, no one can project anything on me. I would do castings and talk so much that the director would be exhausted. I would have read more books than he did on his subject, because I just needed to nail him down. And I mean, catastrophe. Out of complete depression, I went out with every singer and person who I was admiring, thinking, they're gonna make a song about me. No, never did. And when they did, they didn't even say it, which is extremely unfair. But and so I got really depressed, and I was 28, still waiting for someone to do something about me. My mum was, at that age, had already every greatest person, worship her. My sister the same. I was just like, oh my God, not only am I not inspiring, but I'm a loser, and I haven't done anything, and I'm, and people, and I worked in the modeling world, and so, 28, it's like being a dinosaur. So I was just like a very old model and a very old, unused muse. And so I was like, well, I've been drawing myself all these years. And I was writing my songs, and it was Etienne Dao who showed up in my house and who said, why don't you release your songs? And I said, well, everybody hates me. I'm a shit actress. I'm a shit model. I'm not French nor English. No one, everyone keeps on putting the blame on the other side, And he said, that's freedom. Everybody hates you. You can release your album. And I thought, let's see. Maybe we can. And so, long story short, at 30 it came out. It was a massive success. Suddenly I won all the awards. Everyone was like, oh, of course you're great and we love what you do. And I was like, wow, I didn't know. And so I was very sad not to be a muse. And then Etienne Dao, I wrote this first album a lot about a breakup and about this artist who didn't write songs about me. And Etienne, very funny, he said, oh, he's your muse. And I thought, oh, that's actually much better. That suits my character much better, that I find muses. Because I create. And I play with the little muses that I find or not. And so that position changed a great deal for me, because I think that I never had the character to be a muse. I don't fit. The teeth are too big, the ears are massive, I take a lot. You've seen 1 hour of complete deconstruction of just thought, and so it's great to suddenly think, why are you waiting to be the character in somebody else's book? It's your life. You make it your own. If you don't fit, then it's a shit box. I don't think you need a box, but if you need one, make it. Make it, destroy it, make it again. Shape the world you want to be in. And if you're happy, who cares about the rest? If it makes you be able to love and trust and be generous and be really generous till the end, to be able to give everything you've got, because the point is the share, then you're fine. You're fine. I've met a lot of muses. I lived very close to them. It's a very hard job. It's a very unfair job. And it's a hard box to get out of. So I'm actually happy today that, I never fitted in that box. Thank you, Tim. Merci.
Thank you